Hey team, welcome in, welcome back. Hermitarius, join me as I split my tarot deck and an oracle deck into suits for the full moon. This oracle deck has 4 color categories, which I'm going to call suits. So I'm splitting them up, and then they will sit out under the window. And the way I'm going to split my tarot deck is by playing a game of solitaire. So as I'm shuffling, a card gets flipped face up, and I decide to start my game with that card. I lay out 7 stacks, and the cards that are face up as the game begins, I take that as the initial reading. This reading usually takes me anywhere from, this one today took me a half hour, but I didn't really sit through and process the reading. And I usually sing them, which I find very magical. And so it can take up to 2 hours. And then it's the regular rules of solitaire. I keep 1 space off to the left for the world card. Otherwise, king cards and any major arcana can start a stack, and then the cards have to go in descending order, alternating suit families. So wands and swords should not go together, and cups and pentacles should not go together, and I mess up all the time. Why I'm doing this, oh, see, I mess up here. The Four of Wands looks so happy, and the Five of Swords looks so moody that I think they must be opposite. But that's okay. It's not really a big deal. This is just a different way to split the deck instead of sorting through the cards. It gives me a chance to practice recognizing the suits as the images. Not every card with a wand is a wand card. Like, I always read the Five of Pentacles as wands by accident. But also it lets me practice my Roman numerals. And it's just a way to spend time with my deck. And it can be a very powerful reading if you sit through and you do it all. So here I'm realizing the mistake I made, and that I shouldn't have been able to move that stack over, or get the game to where it is right now, but that's fine. Then we carry on. So why I'm trying to split my deck as I put it out under the full moon is sometimes I just like to do split deck spreads where the spread wants you to have all of your wands separate, all of your major arcana separate. And so usually what I do is I will leave them out a few days out under the full moon, and then I'll shuffle each suit, each pile on its own, and draw a card blindly, and then that's kind of the full moon message, or the current energies working with me from that suit, at this time with my deck, or whatever the intention is as I'm drawing. So I'm going to be looking for some classic split deck spreads to try out in the coming days. I try to keep this game as honest as possible. Now I'm checking to see if I can move anything around, and I can't really. And I'll use the major arcana as wild cards. So there's the 5 major arcana available, and so I can put any 5 or any 4 onto that card, but I won't be able to move that whole stack until I clear the pip cards off the major arcana card. So I'm just going to put this 5 on top so I can keep the game moving without quote unquote cheating too much, and hopefully I can move forward, and I could. I'll also put a major arcana on any higher number or same number card. So if I had all those 5s out and the 5 major arcana came out, I could have put it on any 6 or any 5. I hope that made sense. The draw pile is always 3 cards, and I'm not particular. I switch the whole game between flipping them sideways and flipping them like hand over hand. It's casual, it's fine. I see questions online a lot about what kind of games or like how do you spend time with your deck? What other things do you do with your deck? And so this is one of them, playing solitaire, even though I do turn it into a reading. And just another way to approach, kind of like a slow, integrated approach to having to split your deck for some other purpose. Um, like make it long form, stretch it out. I'm realizing here that it doesn't matter, there's no cards in my draw pile that could be played. So again, I'm using the wild card aspect of the major arcana to put a 5 pip on the 5 major. And then putting that King of Wands out, like really hinged the game into end game, and I was able to move that whole stack of major arcana away. And so that would have been like a key moment in the reading. And I would have tried to tie it into whatever was coming through in the beginning. That image of the first 7 cards. I'm about to make another mistake shortly here where I forget that knights and tens need a page in between them, see? And that's fine. So this image as well would be like a really important snapshot of the reading, what is still out, because there's no more cards that are not visible or need to be turned over. And so now it's just, oh, there's a lot of 5s out. Wow. C'est la vie. As a personal reading, boo. Um, as the culminative effort of wherever we started with at the beginning, opening scene of the game, that is the next step. And now it's just like kind of working what you've learned or like working the process as everything gets shuffled into or sorted into its suit. So I am doing this split in real time in January 2025. I played this game of solitaire sometime on Saturday, January 11th, I believe it was. And these cards will sit under my window for probably 3 nights through the full moon, until moon leaves Cancer, or I want them to sit out for around 2 to 3 days under the light of the moon to get like nice and charged up, but also gives me a little break from having access to all my tools. And then we'll go from there.